everyone, it's Margie from the Westchester Children's Museum here once again to do our fun activity for this week. So we know that you've all went back to school, or a lot of you have went back to school, and some at home and some to your school. So we thought we'd give you some fun activities that you can do maybe after school or you can do on the weekend. So this week's activities are all about leaves. So we're going to learn a little bit more about leaves, and especially leaves in the fall. But before we get started, I wanted to ask you a question. Have you ever heard of something called chromatography? What's that? I'm sure you've noticed the leaves changing in fall, and it's happening already. I took a walk the other day, and some of the leaves are starting to change. Sometimes it's a slow process, but they are starting to change. So, did you ever think that you could pull some colors out of those colorful leaves that you see? Those reds, yellows, and oranges, maybe even green? Well, you can with a process called chromatography. So what chromatography is we're going to use a solvent or a liquid that will help us pull out all the colors that are inside those leaves. That sounds pretty exciting and fun, huh? So let's get started with what you need to do our fun science experiment. So what you need is just a few things. The first thing you need is the most important too. You actually need some leaves. So you actually need to go on a walk with your caregiver and find some leaves. Now you want to find different colors: green, brown, yellow. I found some yellow from the birch tree that's off of my porch. And if you find some red, there are some out there, I would try those too. So we need to collect some leaves and put them in a bowl first. The other things that you need to do this experiment are you're going to need a jar or a glass. Now mason jars really work the best. So if you have mason jars, that's great, or a glass that could, 3 glasses that could be, heat could be applied. You'll also need 3 pencils. And you'll also need 3 clothespins. You will need some rubbing alcohol. And you will need a tablespoon. And that's all you need to get started. Oh, wait, one more small thing. You're gonna need some paper towel or coffee filters that you can actually cut into strips that are 1 inch by about 5.5 inches, because those strips are going to need to be able to touch the bottom of your jar when placed in them. And that's what you need to get started. So let's get started with our experiment. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to take some of your leaves and you want to cut them up into little tiny pieces. So you want to separate them by color and you want to put them in your jars. So what you want to do is you want to take a pair of scissors and you want to cut all your green leaves into tiny little pieces. So we're doing the green first, and we want enough maybe to kind of fill the bottom of the jar with your green leaves. Now these leaves don't have to be dry. They can be leaves that are directly from the tree and not leaves that you found on the ground. All right? So we want to put a little bit more in there, and you can break them off too. You can break off into little tiny pieces if that works better for you too. So keep breaking them and put them into your jar. Now, once we have enough in the bottom of our jar, what we want to do is we want to do that for each color. So I've already done that for our brown and for our yellow leaves. Then what you want to do is you want to take your alcohol, I've poured it, rubbing alcohol into a cup. And you want to put 1 tablespoon of that rubbing alcohol over. Mix it around in your leaves. Now, if it doesn't cover your leaves fully, you may want to add a little extra. So I'm going to add a teeny bit extra there over my leaves. Now for the next part, you need your caregiver to help you. So because you're going to have to put a little heat on these leaves with the alcohol in these jars. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a pot with your caregiver and you're going to fill the bottom of it with about 2 inches of water. Then what you want to do is you want to place your jars inside. And as you can see, my jars are inside, okay? And then you want to turn the oven on, or turn the stove on the top of the stove, and you want to heat that up until the water around the jars boils, not the alcohol inside. When that water starts boiling, your caregiver can turn that heat off, wait till it cools, and then carefully take out your jars with oven mitts. And then what you need to do is you need to let them sit out overnight in a dark spot. And then we'll move on to what you do next. So here are our jars of leaves that we left overnight in the alcohol solution. So next, what you need to do is hopefully you've cut your paper towel strips or coffee filter strips, which should be about 1 inch by 5.5 inches if you're using mason jars. Then you want to attach it to a pencil with a clothespin, and then we're going to put 1 in each, and they need to touch the bottom of your solution. And now we need to wait and observe. So this could take a little bit. You may have to wait about 2 hours, but I can already see that something is happening there. So let's wait and let's come back and observe and write down what we see for the next 2 hours. So here we are. We have left our jars with our leaf and alcohol mixture and our strips of paper towel for about 2 hours. What do you see happened? Next, let's take the paper towel strips out and lay them flat to dry. And then we can see what we captured from our colorful leaves. So let's take a look at our paper towel strips after I took them out of the jars and let them dry for a while. Can you guess which color leaf each one was from? So here is our white strip of paper towel. And here is this one. And here is this one. Take a closer look. And here is this one. What do you think? So this one actually was our yellow leaf. And this one was our brown leaf. And if you look closer at this one, this actually was our green leaf. But I see a little bit of another color in there. I see a little bit of yellow in there. So what happened and why? How were we able to pull those colors out of the leaves? Let's find out. So, what happened and why? How were we able to pull color out of our leaves? So first, leaves have different colored pigments. And the process called chromatography helped us pull out some of those pigments. In chromatography, you use a solvent, which in this case was our rubbing alcohol. And that solvent helps dissolve the pigments that are in something, and in this case was our leaves. And once it dissolves those pigments, it got absorbed by our paper towel and created the colors that you see on our paper towel strips. So that's what happened. So I hope you enjoyed the activity today, and please join us for all our great activities that we have for you on our website. And we also have lots of live programs still, and also programs on Facebook and YouTube for you. So thank you so much. I enjoy doing these with all of you, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.